Guys, good Monday morning. I'm Jerry Miller. Welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. A show presented by Yes Realty Partners here on the I Love CVille Network. This show, we entertain, we enlighten, we educate, we talk real estate life in the pursuit of happiness. Judah B. Wickauer, Jay Dubs, our director. If we could go to the 3-shot and maybe weave in the studio camera, and let's welcome one of the Shenandoah Valley's finest catchers, a product of the New York Mets organization, the mayor of Pantops, the king of Fontana, a man with a beautiful wife, and yes, even a Virginia Tech fan, Michael Plecker. Good Monday morning, my friend.
Sounds like I should be coming out of the corner with some.
I know.
Right?
Do you have your robe on?
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble.
Get ready. I like the robe. Get ready to rumble. I like the shirt that you did on Christmas, though.
Oh, it was awesome.
That was a good.
I thought there was a prize or some recognition.
Well, here's something interesting. He does not remember the bet that you are now a favorite to win. Would you like to explain to Keith? You're not the principal broker, are you? What are you, YRP?
I'm one of the co-owners.
Okay, co-owners.
I'm the co-owners. Yonna is the supervising broker.
Supervising broker, okay.
Yeah,
it's a good thing Yonna's the supervising broker.
I'm just the poor schlep that goes out there and does.
That's not true. You get to do this.
I get to do this. I'm just the poor schlep that runs all over the place.
If you ever spend time in the office with all of us together, you'll see who quickly runs that.
Oh, no. That would be Forrest the dog.
Exactly.
That would be Forrest the dog.
Tell us about the bet.
Is that the interest rate?
It was the interest rate.
Was it me?
The interest rate. It was with
that?
you. It was
Really?
with you.
Yeah.
For a bottle of Woodford Reserve.
That's right.
When was this? Do we have tape to prove this?
We do have tape.
Yeah,
we do have tape.
Boy,
I've got that piece pulled out.
Yeah, so I just kind of went to the ABC store and just bought a bunch of bourbon because I just don't win these things, and that's okay. I'm good with it.
Well, so
what did I bet?
It was I was at 7 1/4.
That's right.
7 1/4 by the end of this year.
Yeah.
And the last show of this year was going to be the day that we settle up
Of
somehow.
this year.
Of this year.
So do I have to the end of the year, or if it goes over 7 1/4, I lost?
Well, I said by the end of the year.
So if it goes, that means if it goes
over by the end of the year, you've lost.
They're creeping up. They're not quite at 7 right now, but they're flirting with 7.
Well, if you watch that board back there, the main driver of that is continuing inflation.
Inflation continues to stay hot.
What I was sort of
alluding to.
My bet on the entire time was I just don't think inflation is under control yet, is to the point where the Fed's going to stop raising rates. But they're talking about a few more additional bumps in the prime this year. So.
Well, it's a 10-year Treasury, in my opinion, that has more impact on that. But that Treasury, I'm looking at it, is going up. Yeah, so
it's an indirect.
So somebody needs to write this down. I owe you a bottle of what now?
Well, the bet's not over yet.
I'm going to lose, so I might as well just go get one.
He's just preparing for the inevitable.
Might as well just go get one. That and my mustache. So
sure.
Yeah, and back on the. Yonna told me this morning before I went out on the bike ride. Don't forget. Don't forget you're not in your 20s, and then she turned around. Yeah, you're not even in your 50s any longer, and so.
Michael Plecker, guys, is the mayor of Pantops.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
I want to talk Pantops.
Yep.
One of the hottest markets in Central Virginia because of its proximity to everything. Intrastate 64, Martha Jefferson, close to downtown, right off the bypass, super close to the University of Virginia and all those jobs. You can get anywhere from Pantops. It's also bustling from a business standpoint. Great restaurants now on Pantops. Has not always been the case. Judah Wickauer, we're going to cut a sizzle reel here. Give us a market update on the Pantops area, Michael Plecker.
So, what I look at is some of the things you just mentioned. I mean, it's one of the reasons why my wife and I chose Pantops. We like the proximity. I mean, it has what you need to be self-contained on Pantops. If you didn't want to leave Pantops, you have everything up there that you would need to be able to live your life. But it's close to all the fun things that make Charlottesville too. And I've lived there since 2005. And, the market update, we're going to talk about some numbers here in a few minutes that is more, this previous year and a couple of years prior. But overall, from 2005 until today, I've watched Pantop develop, both from a commercial standpoint, residential standpoint, and there was a lull in the middle with single-family housing there, as well as condos a little bit, but more so single-family homes, detached houses. that there was so much development and new homes being built, Fontana per se sort of slowed down as far as the activity, the number of sales in there on an annual basis. And what I have seen happen in patterns many times over the years of doing this is I told everybody on our board, happened to be on the board at that time at Fontana, that just once all the development's done for single-family homes, you will see appreciation rates pick up for Fontana. You'll see the sales pick up for Fontana, and it has. It is the one location around Charlottesville that is, if you think about Fontana and Pantops proper, we've had this discussion. Where is Pantops?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where are the borders of Pantops? But in my view, the Pantops area, as far as residential development, is done. So if you want to live in that beautiful area of our town, you have to pick an existing home. So therefore, prices continue to rise. I think that's a product of the market. It's also a product of what I just mentioned, the fact that there's no new home construction taking place that is competing with resales in that area. So,
Keith Smith, your take on Pantops. Great take, Michael Plecker.
Yeah, so you're the mayor, so you get to determine where it is. I think that's the rule. I think it's one of the
It
rules.
depends on if I need to annex any other areas to get votes.
Yeah. Remember, everybody should vote twice.
Yeah.
So you're 100% right. It's funny, as you were speaking, I wrote some notes down, and we really didn't prepare too much for today's show because our chemistry is so good. But I wrote down new construction versus resales, and that's 100% right. So developments, regions, they kind of go through these life cycles, right? Like Monticello is an example. Pantops is another one on that. Crozet and Old Trail is starting to get to that point. When the new construction dwindles, then resales become king, right? Right now, in some subdivisions, you can get a new construction, and some people might want to buy new and all that stuff. So if I'm hearing you right, you're not seeing any new developments happening around Crozet anytime soon. Crozet, Pantops. Sorry,
Pantops is fine.
Sorry about that.
No, I mean, and where would it be?
The only place it would be down 20. 20 toward Prophet Ridge.
For me, Pantops sort of ends at Key West.
Okay.
I mean, and it's sort of, and it's funny because just having two girls that attended Stony Point School, right, which is up on the way to Barbersville up there, about 15 minutes out of Pantops, just people in general that live in that area, sort of that's the Key West area along Route 20 North is sort of where we think kind of Pantops sort of ends.
That's a great neighborhood.
Yeah, Key West.
I just
a
looked
great
at it.
neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing active, nothing pending. But go ahead. In Key West.
And then the interstate down into Shadwell before you get to the actual Shadwell itself. But the interstate would be another boundary. The ridge along the top of Ashcroft.
So you call the most eastern point of Pantops the I-64 exit, the Diamond Interchange?
Then it's Keswick.
Okay, so everything past Greg Bartlesky State Farm and Coors Brothers is Keswick. Okay, I'll give you that. Then what do you say, the Free Bridge?
Then the river.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, then you got the city, so that kind of.
So Free Bridge and up.
Right.
Is
Free Bridge
Pantops.
on the other side, that's city. Yeah.
Right, so Free Bridge, Cosner Brothers side of Free Bridge and up is Pantops.
Yes.
That's the cutoff. I like that. I think he's right. Keep going, Michael.
So, well, where were we at here? We're going to keep going. So that's
Where the new
boundary.
development would be,
Well-
is the question.
I ride around Pantops a lot. I take pictures, for different purposes and things. But I mean, there's some open commercial type infill lots that could take place. But for residential development, there is nothing on the board, nothing proposed. And any great open space to even maybe build a multifamily type housing, like they are behind Peter Jefferson or Martha Jefferson Centera, back there, the new condos. Martha Jefferson owns all that land out in front of State Farm and that big expanse of several acres in there.
That's the end of the first sizzle reel. That was a damn good sizzle reel right there. Keith Smith.
So as you guys are talking, I'm actually, because with our Paragon system, I can do a geometric shape and search in that. So I'm going to try to do that and talk at the same time. And those who watch the show know I can't multitask.
Sure.
So,
Well,
so
yeah, for
he
today's
knows
purposes,
this better than anybody, right?
Yeah.
You know, Smith, pay attention, ADD,
I like
yada,
it.
yada, yada.
It's endearing.
Yeah. I usually get texts like,
It's endearing.
Like-
Focus.
wake up.
It's your question.
You're 60 plus years old, or 60 years old. Wake
I
up.
do not say that.
Yes,
I
you
do not.
I got texts to prove it.
I'd say it's your question, Keith.
You just need to put a shock button on his
Normally,
chair.
I'm like, slide that microphone closer to so-and-so.
Did you hear what he just said?
What's
You
that?
need to put a shock button on his chair.
He's my friend.
Yeah.
I like him. Kevin Yancey, State
That
Farm
might be a
sold
lot
that
of it. Okay.
property to St. Terra. Neil Williamson's watching. I think you've already answered this. Is if Pantops is completely full, Mr. Plecker from Neil Williamson, is it time to expand the developmental area in the Pantops area?
That would be up to the large landowners just north of Key West.
Well, there's step number one. Step number one is that the Albemarle County has to increase the urban ring, right?
Okay.
And then once they increase the urban ring and the areas in the growth area, then the next step, then you're 100% right. You know, nothing, to quote Neil, nothing happens without a willing landowner to sell, right?
Sure.
You know, that's your step number one, but kind of half step number one, if it's not in the
It's
growth
making
area.
it easier for those folks.
Well, it's
too.
got to be in the growth area,
Yeah, it's
right?
gotta
If
be
it's
in the
not in the
growth
growth area, the
Well,
chances-
then comes the inevitable intersection pushback that you're going to get there at Freebridge, the Exxon, where Flo Mazza used to be, where you cross over to go to Food Line coming down 20 North. You know, that is
Is
already...
that the empty car lot?
Yeah, Flo. Well, of
Okay.
course, Flo moved into their new gig up
Okay.
the street there.
Okay.
But that corner, that's a wide open piece of commercial property. Will probably end up being a gas station or what have you there on
It's
the corner.
for sale now.
It's for sale now.
It's been
but-
for sale for a while.
Yeah. So we're just, you know, if you do the commute down in the mornings, I mean, that intersection gets a little clustered at times.
Oh, I do it
And
every morning.
I'm just trying to envision the infrastructure of what would happen with additional developments up 20.
So to your point and to Jerry's read off on stuff that's going on in Pantops, the hotel that behind the Wawa was a client of mine. I helped them buy it, helped them get it approved, and helped them manage the building end of it. And going, I had a conversation with them.
Who owns that hotel?
Excuse me?
Who owns that hotel?
It's a group out of Richmond.
Okay.
It's a group out of Richmond. I had a conversation with the gentleman because we're looking at a couple other sites around the airport to add some more hotels in it. He says they're almost like 80% occupancy, which really kind of rocked my world.
In the hotel?
Yeah, I didn't expect that, right? You know, on a bad day it's 60%, but they're hovering somewhere between 60 to 80% occupancy, which only kind of leads to the prowess of Pantops and what you can do, because you know you're going to stay in that hotel. You want to go get something to eat. You want to go ahead and get fuel. You want to kind of do whatever you want to do around that. And a shout out to the VA, because I'm a patient of the VA. We've got a great clinic in Pantops that I absolutely love, over by Martha Jefferson Hospital.
Yeah, so again, I mean, if you're speaking about the hotel number of beds in the town, that was always one of the reasons I had heard along the years that they didn't host a regional tournament here, like an NCAA regional tournament or some larger events like that.
No hotel space.
Not enough hotel beds, but that
Plus you got field problems, right? Up the street at Darden is not really a stellar place to have a soccer event.
Well, I mean, they have the youth soccer things that go in there, and soccer, which I was involved with over a number of years while my youngest daughter played. They've hosted some larger events in town, tournaments, but I'm talking about like an NCAA sponsored, event that it was really the hotel beds, the number of beds and occupancy that they could have here to be able to host something like that. But no, it's good to see that hotel.
Yeah, it's a nice operation. It took us a while to get it approved and
Sure.
done, but it's a nice setup. Number one, in this area you just outlined in Pantops, which subdivision has the most homes in it?
Say that again.
Which subdivision within the area we just outlined,
Pantops?
that we're calling Pantops, has the most homes in it?
Ooh.
Pavilions Pantops has 468.
I knew you would know that number.
By comparison, Fontana has, Fontana has 174.
This is a sizzle reel right here.
Yeah.
Keith's question into Plecker's answer. Keep going.
So, 468 pavilions, 174 now in Fontana, because the last phase of Fontana is now done. Highland Ridge, 122. Cascadia, I do not know the number, to be quite honest with you. They have so many different types of products in that community. That may, just on a pure basis of dwelling units, is probably pretty close on par with pavilions and pantops, the townhomes, as far as the number of units.
So the reason I asked that, I wanted to see what's available and pending in the pavilions as you're talking. That's really I'm trying, as you're speaking.
Well, so while you're doing that, what I looked at, and, different agents have a different take on
Sure.
what the market's like.
Sure. What's yours?
Mine is, I don't like this market.
Ooh.
I don't like this market. It's unhealthy. There is the same, great agents, all professional agents in car. The same number of agents are battling for half the number of listings. So to me, that's not healthy from an agent standpoint, and also from a buyer or seller standpoint. You've got folks that would sell, but they're in the same boat as somebody that would want to buy their houses. What am I going to go look at?
So it's interesting you should say that. We're doing a lot of work in Richmond right now, as you know, and we're looking at possibly moving a shop over there, and our daughter and son-in-law are moving there, and I'm doing a ton of research and a ton of work. I have not looked or seen a home that's been on the market in we're a very specific center of a portion of Richmond that the same agent listed 2 homes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's really startling. Here, you have agents list multiple homes, this kind of thing. So it's very interesting that you should say that. But in Richmond, it was very interesting that, and I'm digging into the data on who's the best agent selling and all this kind of different thing. And there's lots of onesies, but you don't hear a lot of like a Denise Remy, right, that has these huge amount of units that are either listed and selling. And I just thought that is odd. And I also found out there's 6,000 agents in the Richmond area. 6,000 of them.
They got a ton of inventory, though. They got a hell of a lot more inventory than we do. A hell of a lot more rooftops.
They turn over a lot faster.
Yeah.
Constant units coming on, constant units coming off. The home I looked at for my daughter up there, by the time I got there, they had 5 offers, and every one of them was 6 figures over the list price.
So, you're talking about Goochland, Henrico, City of Richmond, Chesterfield. You're talking about that.
It's a huge
Shore
footprint.
Pump.
It's a huge footprint.
Shore Pump.
Yeah.
It was astonishing to me. I expected to see certain agents doing certain neighborhoods. Usually that's how that goes, right? And that was not the case.
Let's go back to Plecker's why he thinks this is unhealthy. This is a take we don't hear often on the show here.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Healthy to me is you've got an ample amount of inventory to get people excited about the thought of buying a home. And it gets people who own a home excited about the possibility or probability of selling it and being able to go out and find something, either they're upsizing, downsizing, whatever it is, that they also have that opportunity. But if you look at the top of the chain in housing, the folks that are selling, they're probably either retiring or downsizing, moving on. They're staying put in larger numbers, which just creates a clog at the bottom of the housing market as far as new home buyers who are looking for that move up home, and the people in the middle who are looking to move up one more time because for whatever reason it may be. Maybe they had another child. Maybe they're looking for a little extra space because they want to do something specific inside the house. There's not enough variety to keep the market excited, in my opinion. Now, it's very exciting if you own a home and you want to sell, just like the one recently in Fontana. It was on the market less than a week. They got more than one offer, cash offer over asking price.
So what we're saying is just no inventory.
No inventory. So it has been said again. The take on it by me saying it's not healthy, maybe you haven't heard that before, but it's the same thing people have been trying to explain. It's just not enough inventory.
Therefore, it's unhealthy.
And therefore it's unhealthy. For agents, a lot, like you said, because we're all looking, the same amount of agents are all looking for half the amount of listings that are out there now. And it's also for the buyers, it's unhealthy.
So I just did a snapshot as you were talking. Albemarle County, detached, attached, what is active and what is pending. Very interesting. 111 homes are active. This is attached and detached, no new construction. I always take that out on that end of it. 110 are in pending. So that's pretty much on par. So as things are coming on, they're going off, they're coming on, they're going off.
That's good. That's good.
So let me ask you, because you're a pro.
He really is a pro. New construction background, realtor, talented realtor, wife in the mortgage business.
Secondary mortgage market.
Secondary mortgage market.
They
This
buy
guy
the mortgages
breathes
from
it.
banks and mortgage companies, and they package them and sell them on Wall Street. That's what they do.
Secondary mortgage. He lives and breathes this.
And a local,
Yeah, and a local.
which is
Well,
important.
thank you. Yeah.
No, well, that's important, right?
Well, I'm a local now. Yeah, I've
Well-
been here since 2005. I've got bumps and bruises.
No,
I'm
but
a
you're from the
local.
other side of the
I
mountain,
know,
right?
yeah.
So that's
Originally a Valley guy, but
you're-
I spent 17 years in Northern Virginia.
Yeah, but you don't have my accent. Let's put it that way.
He's
But-
very much a local.
Nobody
You're a
south
local.
of Maryland does.
Okay, so
So where I was at here, just this past year, and I've got to put my glasses on to see that. Although I got a clean bill of health from the doctor today on my physical, so we're all good there.
yeah, but it wasn't your glasses they
And
were looking
it's
at.
what I notice when I walk. Yeah, when I walk around
Just
the
saying.
neighborhoods.
He missed that. Did you get that?
No, I didn't get it.
I
What did
said
you
that
say?
wasn't your eyes they were looking at.
I got you.
He was thinking. That's a
I know
scary
he was.
thing.
Yeah.
I know he was.
Yeah, you really just
Yeah, go ahead. Keep on.
really just stole the momentum right away from me there.
I'm sorry about that, brother.
That's okay. But now, it's what I notice when I walk, when I drive through the neighborhoods. Normally, this time of year, I'd see multiple for sale signs in the pavilions.
Oh yeah.
I'd see 2 or 3 in my own neighborhood. I'd see 2 or 3 up in Cascadia, or Highland Ridge by now, and several in Cascadia. In 2022, Pavilions and Pantops had 17 sales. Fontana had 6, Riverside Village had 5, Cascadia had 18, Highland Ridge had 11. That was in 2022. 2017, Pavilions and Pantops had 45.
Yeah.
Fontana had 11, Riverside Village had 29. There was still some new construction mixed into that, I
Sure.
believe,
Yeah.
on a couple of units. Cascadia had 54, Highland Ridge had 16. 2018, 31. So the numbers, we're doing this, and from those years to
What about values?
last year, in half.
The volume is going down, but value is going up, right?
Oh yeah, look, if you own a home, you're getting appreciation. I mean,
So to
that's
Jerry's
good.
point that he makes all the time, so if some of these folks bought in 3%, 2% world, and they don't have to move, they're not going to move.
Right.
And that only makes his inventory issue,
2.75%.
makes it even worse
Yeah.
on that end of it. I'll talk about something in the middle. I had 3 phone calls on the way in from first-time home buyers wanting to go out and look now, just this half an hour from Lake Monticello here. But a question I wanted to ask you, you're a pro, you've been around this as long as we've been around this. In our marketplace, I like to use days on market as kind of the litmus test of where we're switching. Are we switching from buyers to sellers, seller to buyer's market? What is that number for you in this region? Right, is it 20 days, 30 days, 60
What's
days,
healthy?
90 days?
What's healthy?
Yeah,
Yes.
for DOM, days on market.
Days
Thank
on
you. Better
market,
way of asking the
Pantops in the pavilions, healthy is 30,
Yeah.
35. Fontana, a healthy market in Fontana was around 45 to 55.
Because of the higher price tag.
Range, higher price. Highland Ridge, higher.
Oh, you haven't mentioned Ashcroft.
Ashcroft is, I know I haven't, love Rick Byer. See him at Giant Grocery Store in Pantops quite a bit and chit chat with him from time to time just as an acquaintance type thing. But I leave that one alone. That's a different market.
Because of the price point. Because what are we, million plus?
We're up to 4 million in there.
Certain lots, not all.
Certain homes are pushing that 4 million range.
You got the median, or you got some data you can shed on Ashcroft over there, Keith?
I'm
Why
working
is
on it while you guys talk.
Why is, put in perspective for the viewers and listeners, and you got friends watching the program, Candace Johnson, Patty Wheaton Easley, Jerry McCartney watching the program as we speak. David Butler looks like he's interested in buying a house on your Facebook page. And David says in the comments section in Michael Plecker's comments, so for those looking, what should we do? Wait or rethink how we negotiate? He's interested in buying something.
The bottom line on that?
John and Natalie Fainin watching the program. Folks from Logan Foster and Nest on the feed right now. Viewers and listeners, you can ask questions by putting your comments in the feed, and Plecker and Smith will answer them. Why is Ashcroft its own unique animal?
Price point. And although we would consider that possibly part of Pantops, it's just not your typical.
It's in the heart of Pantops. Mm-hmm. It's in Pantops.
It also was correct me if I'm wrong, when Rick built that was like the first project built in Pantops development. I mean,
Ashcroft. There's Lower Ashcroft, which is more of a typical home type that you would find in Fontana, Cascadia, places like that. It's just a Lego drive along the very top. A little bit different animal. I tend to kind of leave that out because when I'm working with folks in the Pantops, area, in the Fontana, Cascadias, and those types of communities, I sort of leave those comps out just because it will tend to skew it just a little too much to give a seller, a realistic price range of what they could possibly sell their home in.
If you guys have not been in Ashcroft, you're missing some of the most beautiful sweeping views.
Without a doubt.
In Central Virginia. And it's Upper Ashcroft? Is that what you call it?
Well,
how's it
it's
described?
Just up above where their pool is in the clubhouse.
Oh, absolutely.
It's technically not a name of a subdivision. It's just the higher level of Ashcroft.
It's up along Lego Drive.
Yeah.
So
Ashcroft,
normally
that part of Ashcroft is majestic.
It is, and that's the part. Yeah, it's gorgeous, and you can hike there from Fontana in 10 minutes.
So usually with subdivisions like that, they become buy and holds, right? People just stay there. Right. So as you guys were talking, I was just trying to take a look at what has sold in Ashcroft in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. I had to go back to 2 years.
Yes.
Just to get 10.
Right.
Actually, it's not even 10.
It's not a good place to draw comps from.
It's 9, right? And it ranged everything from, and I take out new construction because it just so we can have this conversation, ranges from $500,000 to 1.7, excuse me, 1.7 million. The median, the average sales price is just shy of $1 million, but there's 1, 2, 3 of the 9 that have $1 million plus, and then it goes into 8s and all that kind of great stuff. But I had to go back 10 years. Excuse me, 10 years, 2 years to get somewhat of a number so you can do some percentage ratio.
But I wanted to go back and address David Butler's question.
Yes.
David Butler is asking a question that I think a lot of, and I don't know if I don't think David's a first-time buyer, but he's looking to possibly get back in. There's a lot of people out there that have become or were complacent because the interest rates are so long for a decade or more. That doesn't change the fact that people who bought when I started selling homes in 1994, and I got to be careful how I phrase this, interest rates around 9%. And if you make your payments on time, and if you hold to a certain point, even those folks made money. Even those folks developed equity in their homes. Even those folks were able to take advantage of a next big market and either stay or move on to something larger if they wanted it, or to simply move on. But over time, real estate and owning a home is still the foundation of every financial portfolio. And if you're renting, there may be certain reasons why you need to rent, but owning, even if the interest rate is where it's at now, is still better than renting.
100%. Well said. Let's give him some props for that. That's very well said.
So literally, that was the conversation I had. Literally, we're driving into one vehicle because when we can, Yonna and I drive one vehicle in. Yonna's on the phone with a first-time home buyer driving in. I'm on the phone with a first-time home buyer coming in, asking that very question, is this a good time to buy? And then we start asking, I mean, you're literally a pro at this, right? And then you start asking leading questions, right? So what would that? So if I'm a first-time home buyer, right, and I'm calling you and I ask you that question, what does that conversation look like? What's the first question you're going to ask me back, or second or third? Let's play that game.
Well, tell me a little bit about your situation now.
I have just had my first child, and I'm about ready.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm about ready to have a second child pretty soon. So we're looking to grow. The home that we're in is a little bit too small, but we're a little worried about the interest rates. Is this really a good time to buy?
There's a lot of things that go into answering that question accurately for you. A lot of it depends on what is your income situation, what's your job situation. Is it a stable?
I got a pre-qual letter up
You
to
got a pre-qual letter?
350.
Well, we can skip right ahead to the next paragraph. I can give you an example.
He's smiling.
I love
I can give you an
this.
example.
This is YRP. I love it.
Do you know much over the years, and it's when I started with the NVR Inc., the role
You should really give
the
your-
role
you really
playing
should
for
give
the
your
13-week
background.
training course that they made you go through then in order to get cut loose in a model home by yourself.
Explain what MVR is. Most folks don't know what that is.
Oh, NVR.
That's a luxury division of Ryan Homes, right?
So NVR bought Ryan Homes in 1987. They filed Chapter 11.
1997?
87.
87. Okay, I'm with you.
They bought Ryan Homes out of Pittsburgh in 87. They bought them for the production system that Ryan had in building homes and the fact that they were looking to become a profit center rather than a home builder, a stick builder. They bought Ryan for the system because Ryan could guarantee you pretty much your house in 120 days, no matter when it was or what was going on. They filed Chapter 11. They became completely solvent in 1992.
But you worked for them for years, and that's where a lot of your sales training came from.
And a lot of the sales training came from that. But I loved working with buyers. I loved having people come in and they would tell me their situation, and it didn't work for everyone.
Well, that's a little frustrating in today's world, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm on the same boat that you are, right? I love helping people sell their homes, right? It's a lot of fun to do that, but I really love working with buyers and helping buyers get their home and work through, whatever issues we can work through. One problem solving, right? Mm-hmm. Constantly problem solving, and to move on. But the reason I kind of wanted you to do your history, because you know the questions to ask, mm-hmm. right, of me.
Well, so in a model home situation, if I want to, time warp back to 1994, 5 or 6, whatever, is we would sit down and I would say, well, tell me a little bit about your situation. Tell me, how much you make it work and what type of revolving credit do you have, the payments you're making, that sort of thing. And I would do actual pre-qualification in the model home, and I would show them the homes we had to offer. And if they were in the right ballpark as far as the price ranges they're looking at, then we would just talk about, here's the base price of the home, this is what it includes, here's some of the options. We would go through that, explain whether they like it or not, and if it's important to them. And we would come up to what the house adds up to. And then I would take out my Texas Instruments BA2 Plus calculator, and I would figure out their PI and PITI, and then all the mortgage insurance and all the other stuff.
Let's Google what that is.
And I would have a payment. And honestly, when you go into model home, they're selling payment a lot of times.
Yeah. Which is what Keith says all the time.
Yeah.
He says all someone cares about is how much is the payment.
But I think where I was going with this is interest rates go down. If you buy a home and it never appreciates in value 100%, you stay there for 20 years, if you have to go somewhere, you're going to be able to walk away with something in your hands.
I had this conversation with a dear friend of mine, Chris Fairchild, and we were sitting in that chair a couple of Fridays ago, and I would have liked to spend more time in the conversation with him, because I think he was trying to connect what's happening with the depreciation of vehicles and then housing.
I think that's what he was doing too.
And
he made the very bold prediction, and I have tremendous respect for Supervisor Fairchild, that home values would collapse, is what he was saying.
Well, I think he was saying that, or he was saying that, it could happen. I'm not so sure he was predicting it. I've yet to have a sit down with him and say, I need you to explain to me, and we'll invite him back, and we'll get it into a deeper conversation about that.
Because he may be the only one that thinks that we've had on Real Talk.
Well, assuming that's what he meant, right?
Yeah, assuming that's what he meant.
That's what he meant. Yeah. So but the point was trying to make is I keep a 21-year running spreadsheet. Mm-hmm. of everything that has sold in our car footprint. And the reason I do that, it includes a time of great unpleasantness, right? When we did have a depreciation of valuation. And the average, depending on where you're at, is somewhere between 5 to 6% year over year. So you're 100% right. If you're buying now, even if it's at 7%, depending on your where, you will appreciate year over year on that end of it. And if something, God forbid, should happen again like that, then and you can afford to stay there, you just sit tight and it'll catch back up.
It's happened to my wife and I.
You're
And I don't mind
right
saying we purchased in 2005, which is supposedly towards the top of the market. We were in Northern Virginia. We put our house on the market that we bought in 2002 in Manassas for $323. We put our house on the market 2005 there for $605 or whatever. That was sold on the way down here to Charlottesville to look around at housing. We purchased at $473 in Fontana. Interest rates were higher then than they are now. And look what happened and what we could possibly list and sell our home for. So yes, some markets are buy and hold. Some markets are buy and sell.
I can add to that. Daniel Pettit's watching this program. Daniel Pettit will remember this. Daniel Pettit was in the model home at the Villas at Southern Ridge when it was a apartment condo conversion and was part of the deal I did buying my first place, the Villas at Southern Ridge. 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a den. I got it for like $181, $182. Those units dropped at one time during the time of great unpleasantness to like $130s. You could not give them away. Those units today are trading all day, every day between $220 and $230. So now it's a freaking roller coaster ride because no one wants to see that.
Everybody at this table knows what that roller coaster.
Yeah, it was it was demoralizing. Yeah. But from 2008 to now, it's gone from 182 to 225. So that's a 25% increase. Yeah, that's what Plecker's saying.
I once had a mentor tell me that your real estate over the lifetime of buying and selling homes, it's like a portfolio. You're going to do well on probably most of them, depending on when you sell it or how long you've had it, and you might lose on one. But if you look at it over the years and what you've accumulated as far as equity in homes, and you've been able to use that equity to move up to a larger home if you'd like. My wife and I happen to use ours. We bought an investment property with it, which is in the Pavilions at Pantops.
So you used the equity in your
in Fontana?
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go, man. Now that's done, paid off. And
so
Pavilions at Pantops a great investment. That's a great area.
I have helped a few investors in there. Actually, I probably have 6 investors that I've directly helped purchase a home in the Pavilions of Pantops over the years, and they've all done well.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of helping 6 first-time home buyers, and it's very interesting you guys brought this up. Every single one of them are like, well, this isn't my perfect house, but I'm going to live in it for so many years, and I'm going to rent it. And then I'm going to use the collateral or the equity out of this and move up the housing ladder. And that's a whole new conversation that is now starting to happen, at least in my world, that's starting to happen that really didn't happen 10 years ago or 15 years ago. There really wasn't that conversation. It was like, okay, look, I'm going to live in this house for 10 years or 15 years, pull out my equity, sell it, move it into something else. So now there's this mentality of the first-time home buyers, which is only going to make the inventory worse.
Yeah, it's going to pinch it. Even more. Because I think the first-time home buyer, throwing it back to you, Keith, I think the first-time home buyer now has been burned through rent for so long that burning or that experience has taught them the value of being a landlord.
It's funny, I can't quote it because I didn't read it yet, but I saw something come across one of the articles this morning about rent is starting to stabilize a little bit. Now, stabilize is one thing. Going back.
It's not going down. I don't believe the people saying it's going down.
No, so I didn't get a chance to dig into it, but the quick headline was stabilizing it. But I've been quoting the United Van Lines thing for the last week or two or several.
It's a great stat.
Several shows, right? So what United Van Line does, and I'm sure other moving companies do that, is reasons why people move in and out of the state. So I'm looking at Virginia right now. So inbound, so people coming in for retirement, outbound. Retirement was 24 and 20, so there was a little bit more on the outbound side of it. But just on the inbound side, there's retirement of 20%, 38% on family, 23% on lifestyle, 17% on job, and only 11% was cost. And if you look in the back end of it, cost is interest rates, cost of living, yada, 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 on that end of it. And so most people are moving for life reasons. And if you're renting, you're not doing what you can do. You're not doing what Jerry could do. It's not doing what this conversation we're having about, get in the game, build some equity, and move up. But I'm going to go back and look at 2017 just to see how those numbers.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with creating wealth for yourself, and it's open to everyone if you can get yourself in a position to buy a home, to be able to realize starting that process. And I think that's been a conversation on the show a while back about creating family wealth. And that is still, like I said, real estate or buying a home and making the payments is still the best foundation you can have to start to be able to realize, hey, I can use this equity to buy an investment property. I can use the equity in my home as an emergency purpose. I can use the equity in a home if I need to do something for college. The investment property that we happen to pick up, it's positive cash flow, so we use part of that to pay my daughter's rent at Virginia Tech for her apartment. So there's so many different things you can do once you realize the dream of home ownership and all the avenues you can use that for to enhance other parts of your life.
Hey, Michael, I want to buy a new boat. Want to come on in?
John Blair, hello. Woody Fincham.
Hey, Woody.
We'll get to your comment. Daniel Pettit's got a number of comments here.
Let me do the 217 numbers real quick.
Please.
Because it's enlightening. The number one inbound reason in 2017 was job at 67%. Last year it was 17%. Retirement in 2017 was 10%. Last year 20%. Health was about the same, 3 to 5%. Family back then was 16%. This year is 38%. And lifestyle back in 17 was only 8%. And now it's roughly 24%. But that's one big number of job. So people were moving in 2017 for work. Last year, it's kind of broken up between retirement, family, and health. Kind of almost equals that 67%. Just thought that was interesting.
A lot of people left the labor force during COVID too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Woody Fincham for Michael Plecker. Woody Fincham of Fincham and Associates, fantastic real estate valuation expert, fantastic appraiser. He says this: I do a ton of NVR work currently. They are a very streamlined company. They have products that range from very affordable to upper market, such as what they do in Cascadia. It is a great company. NVR has an upscale connotation to it.
It does. Well, that was
Ryan has a production builder connotation. I'm choosing my words carefully here. In fact, I'll just leave it at that. Production connotation to it. I'll just leave it at that. Well, NVR has more of the upper scale. I wouldn't say, what is it called? Production custom almost?
Well, so it's a panelized construction is what Ryan does for the most part. Panelized construction, and that's why NVR really bought them for the profit that they were turning. But you're right, NVR, when you rolled into a home in Northern Virginia and you had NV homes across the street, the price points could be $100,000 or $200,000 higher starting than a Ryan Homes community on the other side of the street.
It's the difference between a Cadillac and a Chevy.
Right.
However,
but it's funny this topic comes up because over the weekend I'm able to put together because I want to do a new construction show, and I've got Stanley Martin, who's one of our sponsors, Homes, going to be sitting there, and then a custom, and we're going to have the conversation about how does this work, the difference between a custom builder and a production builder to use that coin.
Look, builders like Ryan, I'm telling you that. You can. There's all different types of opinions about production builders. They provide a valuable service.
No doubt.
You get a lot of square
footage. They
footage.
provide a valuable service to help people enter the home buying market.
100%. I would never knock them.
Yeah.
What they do with the inventory they create, at the turnaround time they do, at the price point they can offer, provides a tremendous service to this community.
Look, when I worked with folks and they finally signed their purchase agreement at the model home, I every single time they would be in that house within 120 days. It didn't matter what was happening with the weather or anything.
What other production builder can do that?
Yeah, Stanley Martin does that. They
Stanley
do the
Martin?
same- they do-
Stanley
they-
Okay.
They absolutely.
Okay. Liberty?
I don't know Liberty that well. They generally build and sell, right?
Okay.
They don't really start from the scratch. But Southern Development does it. All the production guys, or guys, that's the wrong choice of words, production companies here, they kind of hit the same thing. You know, right, I mean, if we're going to go down the new construction road here in this conversation, most of the hang-ups is due to building permit.
Yeah. Red
CO
tape.
and building permit, and that's been the struggle in the last several years on that end of it. They can get the product done, but if it takes them 3 months to get a CO,
Sure.
certificate of occupancy, you know, they can't control, can't control that.
More comments coming in for you. Dan Pettit, I promised I would get to you. Now I'm going to my friend. He says, multiple comments coming in here from Dan Pettit. First, for Keith, how many of those first-time home buyers are purchasing mostly attached product for rental in the future? And he also says, are these first-time home buyers buying townhouses that have HOAs that if they rent, at least all the outside work is done, grass cutting, roof, etc.? That's one of the advantages of the villas.
To answer that question, every single one of them wants to start with the single-family detached white picket fence,
Good luck.
right? And then through mentoring and coaching and conversation, we're actually moving to the attached product because they all realize, you know, I can't rent anymore. I got to own. If I get an attached product, you know, a townhome or something like that, we can move on. But every single one of them starts with, I want my white picket fence. I want my, you know, yard for my dog, yada, yada, yada. And then we move over to that. So that's the short answer to that question.
So let's go back to the healthy market comment that I made earlier.
Sure.
Healthy in Pantops specifically is in the pavilions, what Keith just mentioned about the townhomes. If there's sales there, right, it's letting in the people.
That's first-time home buyers.
But let's call it what it is, right? We do not produce starter homes anymore. Period.
Well, the builder cannot.
That's exactly
The
right.
builder cannot.
That's exactly right. So unless we can expand the growth areas, reduce red
I don't
tape,
see that happening.
red tape into green
That
tape.
can happen.
That could happen. Go ahead and kind of expedite some rezonings on us stuff so that we can go ahead and build. And let's face it. I mean, on Friday, I was giving a shout out to Albemarle County. I'm probably going to take a little bit. I'm going to go a different direction at the moment.
Ooh.
At this end of it, you know, and this is nothing. I'm not repeating anything that was not spoken at the dais at a public meeting, board meeting. The fact that they do not have developer incentives done 2 years after their housing program, Housing Albemarle was adopted, is just atrocious, frankly, right? So now, I was reading it, there's a project in Crozet that's coming up, it's in the pipeline to go ahead and do it. It's at a 15% affordable. It really should be at 20%, but they can't put it at 20% because the incentives aren't done yet on that end of it. So they're operating under the old requirements, for lack of a better term. But there is no more starter home communities being built. Used to be Lake Monticello. I don't know if that's not the case any longer on that end of it.
Pavilions on Pantops certainly are. They certainly are, I would say, a first-time home buyer community. You could buy a pavilion in Pantops. I think the distinguished gentleman may have that data.
I'm going to work on it here in a minute.
Wouldn't you say that is a first-time home buyer community?
So when I say starter homes,
You mean single-family detached?
This is the conversation that we're having with the first-time home buyers. Why can't I find a starter home, single-family detached? And it is because they're not being produced.
They're not being produced. But pavilions at Pantops have space for a couple to grow into a family there.
Absolutely.
This is a fantastic development.
Yeah, I mean, well, so you've got anywheres from, I'd say, I think it's 1,800 on the low end, up to 2,300 square foot townhomes within the community. Ryan Homes was the builder there, along with Southern Development.
Right?
We purchased in 20.
Not on the market, Keith? Wow.
2 impending.
Yeah.
2 and penny. What's the price points?
Give me a moment. I'll find it.
Go ahead.
So-
$399 and $395.
Oof, I'm not interested.
But even the price point from the time we bought ours at $273 is now $340.
Good job,
And
Michael
these
Plecker.
are
No, I mean,
these
well,
are true.
It is. If you own it, a great job.
These are true townhomes.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
No,
These
no,
are-
meaning they're row houses. They're townhomes. They're not.
They're very
duplexes.
vertical.
Yeah.
You're climbing stairs to go up. It's vertical living. Some people have a problem with the vertical living. I think it's fantastic.
We've only had 4 folks rent our home since 2010.
There you go.
They've all stayed multiple years.
In the
First time
Penthouse
signed
and
a 5-year
Pavilion.
lease right off the bat.
5-year lease?
Right off the bat.
Oh, my
Tab and
God.
I just- my
Who
wife
found
is
that
probably
lease?
Listening, huh? It was very nice to be able to now we have this, we need to get it rented for the first guy to rent for 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you have an automatic acceleration year over year?
No.
Really? So it's fixed for 5
The
years?
last, yeah. I don't
Wow.
do that to my folks.
Well, that guy got a hell of a lease.
That guy got a hell of a lease.
So the guy, the couple we have in there now, they're long-term, they've just re-upped for another 2 years. I dropped their rent, $25 a month.
Good for
Just
you.
to keep them sticky. Because you know the concept.
love
I
that.
learned this from Bill Nitchman. You would rather keep them sticky in the place
I love
under
that.
market than have a month of vacancy.
Rent comes in at the first of every
unless,
Yeah.
unless,
The delta's not going to be that large to cover a month of vacancy.
no, I'm talking about the tenant. If the
Oh,
tenant,
okay.
right.
If it's not a great fit, let's put it that way.
If it's not a great fit, 5 years is a long time.
That's fair. Sounds like it was a great fit
So
for you.
you're saying I rolled the dice on that?
He's saying you rolled the dice.
No.
He's saying you rolled the dice.
No,
That's what he's
yeah,
saying.
You should never doubt my intuition.
I don't think Keith, I think Keith's had this interaction before with Michael Plecker.
So how about them Mets, huh?
Hey, how about them? Yeah.
So the other one that's in pending is a little bit bigger. It's about 2,500 square feet for 400. Well, we don't know what it's going to close for, but it's like you say, it's an interior unit, multi-stories, but it has a garage in it, and it's.
$399. How about this from Grayson? Is that even considered a first-time home buyer product at that price?
Well, that's the point I'm trying to get at. So starter, I can tell you, because of the chairman hat that I wear with the land trust, in order to hit the 80% AMI, area medium income buyer, you need to be somewhere between the 2 and the 250 mark, depending on your credit scoring, how much cash you can bring to the table, and all that stuff. Not 400 grand.
How much of regulations over the year and red tape increase the price of a home to get past
He
that?
knows that number. He knows that
You know
number.
what I'm tell you? 24% the cost of new construction is red tape. I learned that from the distinguished gentleman. A $400,000 home, because I hear that's a good number to use. It's a nice round. 100 grand. Yeah, there you go. You told me that. 100 grand is paperwork. That's terrifying.
So every $400,000 is 100 grand.
Sure.
It's terrifying.
And the time to get it to
Oh, that's not even calculating that.
exactly.
That's just actually hard costs. They don't, if you take a dive into the numbers, it doesn't even calculate the cost of money, the cost of time.
How about this one from Kevin Yancey for both you guys? Keith, why don't you start with this one? What is the likelihood of that farm property being rezoned or converted into residential down Route 20?
Oh, probably slim to none.
Plecker immediately nods his head.
Yeah. Slim.
You mean the one on the left that borders Darden
Well,
Town Park?
I think he's
There's
talking
a
about.
few that way.
I think the question is anything Dardentown.
Yeah.
I know every one of those folks from Key West.
The late, great Pat
Up
Jensen
to-
has a farm that
Yeah,
way.
That's right. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time there with Chris, Brian, and Eric.
Yeah.
Her fantastic sons,
And I
and
think-
Sarah.
Sarah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one on the left.
Yes.
Sarah's,
Without
We like-
expansion of the growth area, it's definitely not going to happen.
yeah, the folks there are pretty well entrenched.
Yeah.
Just past Key West and Franklin Farms, which is on the right there. Just past that, it's pretty well entrenched as far as who the landowners are, what their intentions are, from general conversations and having known them over the years. Yeah.
So that's why a townhome's at 400 grand,
yeah.
because there's no
You
other
can't go find cheaper dirt.
there's no other place for it to go, right? And there may be.
I
some-
remember when the pavilions at Pantops, you could have bought those all day, every day for like $230. Well, what'd you say you got yours for?
Yeah, it was I think we paid $270 for ours, I think.
You could have gotten. They were giving them away $230, $240.
We bought
now
ours in
it's
2010.
$400K. That's
Yeah, we bought ours in 2010 when the market was like this. We sort of waited, and that was our opportunity. But we were only able to do that, folks, because we owned a home and had equity in it.
right. That was a hell of a purchase for you.
Okay, so the first sale on that house was for 269.
$269 on which one? The
And
one
that
that's
was
pending right now?
That was in 2012, though.
Yeah. I mean, they were $230.
But that never changes. How many times have I said it to myself over the years? You've said it. There's no way this housing market, my house, could ever be worth more than it is now. And lo and behold, you get down the road 5, 7, 8 years, and it's worth more. It was just that process, I think, was expedited with COVID.
Yeah, it was
The lockdowns.
amplified.
Amplified, and I think, well, it sort of sped up the tightness of the market, so to speak, the lack of inventory.
The last transaction on this particular home was again in 2012. Apparently, it was difference between build and sell, I think, was 308. So it went basically since 2012, assuming it closes for this amount, it grew $100,000.
Yeah, and
roughly.
rents, and I'm the lowest rent in there. One of the,
What's the
lowest.
rent for yours?
And I do, well,
per month?
$1,650.
$1,650,
For how
three-bedroom, two-bath?
That's a freaking awesome price.
Andre Xavier, you're
I
watching
keep it-
this program. I believe Andre
keep it
has
that
a
way.
Pavilions at Pantops rental. If Aaron Watson is watching this show, he does as well. Yours is $1,650 a month? Three-bedroom, two-bath?
With a garage?
1,800 square feet?
Yeah.
That might be the best deal in Albemarle County. My three-bedroom, two-bath at the Villas of Southern Ridge, condo, not townhome. Yours is better. Yours is a townhome. Mine's a condo. Mine does not have a garage. $1,900 a month, all day, every day. And mine's low in the villas. Suzanne Reel, Allied Property Management. We love you, Suzanne.
Well, thank you.
Allied Property Management.
Well done, sir.
Also manages one of Keith's listing, one of his rentals.
One rental.
Yeah,
but yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Listed so well, I forgot I had it until I got the tax.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Until I got the tax.
She's fantastic. That's the best deal in Albemarle County, your rent.
I don't know if I should be jumping up and down about that, or no. I mean, the reason why I do that,
it works for you, though,
right? It works for him.
me
It works
because-
for you, right?
You have no vacancy.
Hey, it works great because when
But-
there's competition up there, and everybody else is at 1,750 to 2,000, well, who's this guy? I get first dibs.
But you're also doing the right thing. You're helping somebody stay in a house.
But the guy is, they're wonderful people. So
And
I
they take care of your
lowered
unit.
their rent when they up for another 2 years. I lowered it by $25 a month.
That's generous. Katie Pearl watching the program.
We could have used that as a down payment on a boat. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Mrs. Plecker does not want a boat.
Oh.
Well, now, Mrs. Plecker's been sending me pictures of houses at Smith Mountain Lake.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Oh, you've got one of those going
There goes
on,
the
too.
equity.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. You guys would love that.
Well,
Especially
there's
as you're-
debate. We're at the stage of our lives. I like mountainous, 4 or 5 acres, and drivable RV parked out back in a nice building. And she's starting to lean towards lake life, I think.
So-
We've had some of her friends retire on lakes. And
So the girls
Smith
almost
Mountain
done
Lake
with
is not
school,
cheap
right?
anymore.
One of the girls.
Mallory's going to graduate in her 3rd year from Tech. She's graduating next year.
As a third year.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Good for you.
Yes.
What's she
out.
doing next?
Mallory is, she is going to be, I'm not sure
It's
quite yet where it's
okay.
going to end up, like physician's assistant.
I forgot we're on
type
camera.
thing, Sports medicine. She's currently working with the sports medicine department
Yeah,
at
okay, cool.
Virginia Tech, so she gets to hang out with some of the girls' basketball players.
Sure.
I think she's going to be.
Sounds
the
like a
guy.
master's degree is coming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I got comments coming in. Katie Pearl, we'll get to your comment here in a matter of
Katie.
moments. It's a very good one. First, let me get to, because they're coming in fast and furious, Vanessa Parkhill, Queen of Earlysville. Maybe one of the other reasons people struggle to find starter homes is that people like us build an addition onto the little ranch home and turn it into our forever home. Not only did that make the home unavailable for the next family looking, but someday when it goes on the market, it will not be part of the starter home pool like it was for us.
So
Great comment.
Multi-generational homes, and in March, NAR is going to come out with its new set of numbers, maybe early April, but generally every March they do their generational report, and every year the multi-generational home, the percentages increase.
Katie Pearl comment. Ready for this one? This is a good one. Queen of Whitehall. A $399,000 purchase price on a townhome. $399,000. This is Pavilions at Pantops. With a $100 a month HOA, a 5% down payment, with a 6% interest rate. That's today's times.
Yep.
Gives you roughly a $2,800 a month mortgage payment. I think she's highlighting that that's a chunk of money.
It's a chunk of money, but the question is how much would that unit actually rent for?
I can tell you that. Pavilion at Pantops, 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
With the garage?
With a garage. I'd say each bedroom, do each door are they lockable doors?
I could get $1,900 a month for it if I wanted.
I think each door you can get, that might be a little steep. I think you can get each door $1,400 a month. So you're looking at
What?
$2,800, $4,200 a month you can get. I think you can get $1,400 a bedroom for the
Yeah,
pavilions
so
at
what
Pantops.
you're talking about is leasing them in a per door scenario.
Well, I
kind of
mean,
thing.
a lot of folks would do that.
Yeah.
I think you get $1,400 a bedroom for that, no problem, all day.
So maybe the 2,800 is a little bit above rent, or more than a little bit above rent, but you're building zero equity. You're building zero ownership. You're paying Michael's mortgage payment, my mortgage payment, your mortgage payment, or the landlord's mortgage payment, but you're building no wealth on it.
I'd say a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, $2,800 a month payment is in line with market rent.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that market. Suzanne Real, if she was watching, would be able to chime in and help us real quickly. I might be able to actually look at
I mean, the condo at the villas is getting $1,900, and it's not nearly as nice as the
Sure.
pavilions at Pantops.
Well, this particular home
and
is
my condo is under-rented.
Yeah, this home looking at is well appointed, has a nice garage. And
Yeah,
so forth and so
pavilions at Pantops are elevated attached product.
I would agree with that.
It's gorgeous views.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous views. And that's one reason my wife and I picked the Pantops area again, going way back to me moving down here, is that North 29 to me felt like Manassas. You can only see your neighbor's house. It's all kind of flat. We got over here is topography. There's the views. It's convenient to everything. It's a great place to be. And
So-
I think that helps sustain the values in the home somewhat. People that move over there, I think, desire sort of that the views and the topography. It's all part of it.
And the location, I mean, the Diamond Interchange is, people have beef with it. It's already getting better.
As soon as they pave that,
It's already getting better.
yeah, as soon as that's the problem. It's not paved.
Yeah.
On it, there was a little hiccups on it.
No
There was
doubt.
Timing on the lights and all that kind of great stuff.
Don't you think Plecker's gotten better already?
Say that again.
The
What-
Diamond Interchange?
Yes, it has gotten better.
People
I will,
have got-
I will say it's gotten better, but it's got a ways to go.
It's got a ways to go. People are getting used to it. And Keith makes the point, because he knows firsthand with the Zion's Crossroads, is the roundabout.
Plus
It took forever to get that one right.
They did, and this is a common layout in Europe, by the way. So I kind of knew it when I was living over that way. Yeah, you're probably not too far off. I'm looking at 24 to 26. I'm just pulling out on the car side of it, somewhere between 24 and 26. It's a real quick analysis on it. So you're probably not that far off. Maybe a couple $100 one way or the other.
And can I ask what's your monthly mortgage on the pavilions at Pantops? Is it paid off?
I can't even remember.
It's paid off?
No, we've got some more years left on that, but it's $1,100 a month.
Yeah. I mean, this is why you buy property, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we were able to put enough. We were
That's
able
why you
to
buy
put enough
property.
into it to get the payment down to where. I mean, our goal was to have some positive cash flow out of the place, but we put enough into it down payment wise. It was 20% or more. Just
Did
to
you
get
hear
the
what he
payment down
did?
to where the rents would never be a problem.
This guy utilized his equity. He leveraged his equity with his beautiful wife on their home in Fontana to buy a rental property right down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And from day one, it was cash flow positive. That is generational wealth right there.
Back to the first.
And you're going to do it at Smith Mountain Lake, it sounds like.
Well, she's talking about.
Well, it sounds like you're doing it at Smith Mountain Lake.
She's talking about retiring on a lake, and she keeps forgetting to add in the $75,000 for the boat. I don't know what.
Smith Mountain Lake is not
I
cheap.
started. I was there.
Can you help me out on that, Keith?
I got a boat. Such a deal.
Got a
No
boat.
problem.
That place ain't cheap anymore.
Smith Mountain?
No.
No, it's not. No.
At one
You're
time-
underwater, you're at $1 million.
Yeah, at one time you could get steals there.
So back to the 6 first-time home buyers I'm working with. Just to get this out there, not a single one of them had a comment about interest rates. It was all about, I have life changes, I need to move, I need to stay in a certain dollar amount, right? And now I'm flexible on my where, because we start off the conversation with, okay, where's your where, right? And then as time goes on and conversations go on, the where kind of fluctuates a little bit on that end of it. But it's interesting to note at the moment, to your point, it was all about, okay, if I buy this house to the 28, to what Katie Pearl did for us, to $2,800, if I can stay within that, I'm good to go.
I honestly believe the pool of younger buyers that can afford in the price ranges we're at now is greater than it was when I started selling houses in 95, 96.
There's no doubt about it.
There is a bigger, wider pool of cash flow younger buyers out there.
Of deep-pocketed first-time buyers.
Yes.
I think that's 100% true.
But the flip side to that is,
There's less inventory to buy.
and there's a bigger delta than there's ever been before between the people that can do that
And the people that can.
and the people that cannot.
That's fair. I agree with that.
I have never seen the delta that wide in 35 years.
I think, what is that, the erosion of the middle class?
Well,
Is that what that is?
Yeah. So I don't know about the erosion of the middle class, but
Sounds like you agree with that.
But you know what? So they can, and I've talked to so many folks over the years that like they're not quite ready, and I've put them in touch with people that can put them on a plan to get them to the point of being ready. And the hurdle that I get with them most times is they're going to have to buy something they're going to have to fix up themselves. But you know what? You might have to start here, and somebody else could start here, a little bit above you, and what they buy the first time. But darn it, you are going to catch up with them at some point if you just work the program.
Dude, I keep bringing up this, and I'll throw it to you. The villas went from an apartment conversion to a condo conversion. I got in at phase one. Phase one still had the elements of the apartments. Mm-hmm. When you bought at phase one at this place, you literally were asking yourself, what the hell did I just do? Because that's how it was. I won't get too down that road, but you guys understand what I'm saying.
That's what my wife and I said when we bought our first Ryan townhome in 1992 for $123,500. We laid in bed and go, what did we just do?
I said so many times, what the hell did I just do? Folks literally outside the condo blasted, everything you could possibly, from everything you see from the television or a movie was happening there.
We wanted a larger single family home. We were planning to have children. Maybe just had our first, and we would walk across the main road over M&S. We would walk over to the single family home community and just daydream about all these big houses. And we had a townhome that we stayed in. We had to stay in for 11 years.
I stayed in for 7.
We had enough equity after we sold it to put into a single family home that we bought in 2002. So it doesn't matter where you start or what your spot is in life.
Well said, dude.
You become a homeowner, and you will realize some of the same dreams as the people who can start above you.
So somewhere wrapped around that is a sizzle reel.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Mark that for sizzle reel content right there. A 7 for me, dude. 7. And for most of those 7, I didn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
And for most of those 7, I had 2 buddies renting rooms from me to help with the mortgage.
Well, we were just stubborn. We weren't going to sell until we could make some money on the place.
Well, I didn't sell it. That's the different, but similar circumstance.
That one too.
Yeah.
So
that was still a rental.
This is the time I get to do old man stuff. Mine was 18%. We stayed in it for 13 years, right? Until we built up equity. But I did exactly what Jerry did, is I kept it and rented it out. And I got really lucky. I'd rather be lucky than good any day of the week. I had 14 rentals at the time at Lake Monticello, Yonna and I did, and we just end up hitting a cycle of some really not so pleasant tenants.
Yeah.
And it was in 2005, 2006, just before the implosion. I said, you know what, we're selling them. We sold them all. Couldn't get rid of the $17 million worth of development, but I got rid of that.
It's hard to sell dirt, isn't it?
It's hard. It was hard to sell.
But you know that created a lot of opportunities, because that's when I got back into new home sales in 2009. That with developers who owned the dirt, they would tell people, like the person that I started working with at Royal Dominion Homes in Richmond at Short Pump. I drove to Richmond in 2009 to sell new home construction because they were saying, look, no deposits. Those are your 10 lots over there. When you sell and close, give me my money. That opened it up for a lot of young builders to start.
Because the barrier of entry wasn't as steep.
So back to the builder conversation and reality and all that stuff. So the time of great unpleasantness, we got out of people like us got out of the small to medium-sized builder, got out of the market. I can tell you, Michael, there isn't a week that doesn't go by that I have somebody call me and say, hey, I can't find a builder, would you build me a house? If I had $1,000 every time somebody said that island that Yonna and I go to all the time, we don't, right? But what happened in the time of great unpleasantness, we basically got broken into 2 big pools of really only 2 pools of builders. You've had the ones that had the cash to survive it, The ones that didn't left. And right now, the ones that are trying to come back into it, there's no land for them to do that.
Or the dirt's too expensive.
I just can't find it.
Yeah, there's a couple builders around here that got their start by that process
Yep.
of no deposits. It's amazing how much you can create when you're not extorted up front.
Who wants to touch that? It's so good. I love Michael Plecker. I think some folks call that the cost of doing business or the barrier of entry. Plecker calls it extortion.
I didn't realize I got extorted.
God.
It just doesn't feel right.
It's called the barrier of entry.
No, I don't know.
Cost of doing
I haven't
business.
gotten past the extorted part. I'm just like, ooh.
I love Plecker so
Oh,
much.
God. So look at this. I just looked up the clock for the first time.
I know.
It's 11.
I love you guys.
11:30.
Are we still on air?
We're
Still on there.
It's three guys having fun here. I'll add this from Katie. My husband and I, she says, bought a side of a duplex in Briarwood when we were newlyweds for $159K. It was the single best decision we made. We outgrew it quickly, but rented it out for a few years, cash flowing several $100s a month until we realized a few years later that we could make $100,000 in profit, which allowed us to apply that to the purchase of the land we wanted in order to build our forever home.
So
Real
it's-
estate is the single best investment in yourself. I
So-
love that line.
Yeah.
In
So that is the
yourself.
number
In
one,
yourself, yeah.
number one reason to get in the market and buy now. That circumstances
Great comment.
will always happen. So Katie, just out of curiosity, what was your interest rate when you did that?
I would love to know that too, KTP.
What year did she
Hey,
say
you know,
When they were newlyweds, I'm not sure when they got married.
Got it.
and if you don't need the positive cash flow from a rental investment property, just dump it back into principal because one extra payment a year takes you from 30 to 19.
That's what I did.
If you do two, it's even better.
Do two, it's even better. If you got enough positive cash flow, you could realistically see yourselves paying off a
We talk about it all the time. It's
property in 9 years.
the
Imagine
lo-
owning something outright in 9
Oh,
years.
damn. Her interest rate was 3.3. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good for you. Latte factor, right? Just buy one less of these a day,
Right.
put it in a pot somewhere, and apply it to your principal, and you're just paying yourself.
Yeah, that was one of the techniques that we were trained on in the model home. Was to be able to,
339 years ago, she
all these
said.
things you do on a daily basis is,
Yeah.
look what it adds up to.
You got to get this guy back.
Yeah, he's
You're legit, Plecker.
yeah. Always welcome. Always welcome.
I like when you come on the show. It's easy peasy.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
And it just works. It just works well. The chemistry works well. So closing thoughts.
Yeah.
On your end, what wisdom that you wish to impart on the world today?
How about this closing thoughts? Where do you think the market's going the rest of the year? That way I kind of like give you a
Exactly where
focus.
it's at right now.
How long will we be in a market like this, do you think?
I don't have an answer to that question, and you know the so-called experts that I watch on Market Watch and all the articles I read, they don't really know either.
No, they don't.
You know, it's almost to the point where it's going to be a little scary to think of what it would have to happen in order to have a significant increase in the inventory, and that is things that we don't like to think about.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Geopolitical stuff, or
Does it mean
I don't see how
interest rates below 3 again?
That's not going to happen.
No?
So
Not in the foreseeable future, but I can tell you, if you want some words of wisdom, if you are really sitting at the kitchen table with a calculator wondering if I should buy a house in this market, talk to me, because the people that have said it before you, like I said, if they stay in, if they buy the right place, if you have the right guidance on it, you can make money. But I can guarantee you one thing, that interest rates are subject to change. And if you are looking at an interest rate of 6 right now, and by the time you decide to do something, it goes to 7.25, the difference in that monthly payment over the time you're in that house is going to be a significant amount of money by not making a decision.
and you always have the option to refi when it
And you
drops
always
down to 5.
That's
and that's how we went
that's
from
the
18.
thing about my wife and I have refied many times over the
Yeah.
years with different houses.
Yeah.
We buy in because the time is right. We want to get into the market, and we hold some homes longer than we hold others, and then we get higher interest rates when we start off at times. But we've always been able to refinance when rates drop.
So we use this term all the time on the show, trusted advisor, and that's what we're talking about here, trusted advisor. And who knows, the interest rate may be at 7 today. I didn't have that chance to check, but what it is what it is. if you are ready to buy and you need to buy because of life changes, as I outlined on that stuff, get in the game, do it. It may not be the perfect house. It may not be your forever house, but you start doing what Katie Pearl just outlined. The numbers are just a little bit higher. I say that flippantly, but it's true. The number's a little bit higher, but the appreciation will go up. Jerry just outlined, he bought his, what was it,
2008 Villas Southern Ridge, the absolute worst time humanly possible to buy something.
And now you're just sitting on how much?
I mean, $225,000.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
And it works. You just may have to stay in the home a little bit longer.
I'd stay in there 7 years, and of those 7 years, one of the house hacks was renting 2 rooms to
Yeah.
buddies.
Some sacrifices.
But I was in
like
my
that,
20s.
little
Like at that
sweat.
point, you want them to be there.
Just think
Well,
about that.
so-
Think about you bought a home in your 20s.
Yeah, but
That doesn't happen very often.
No. But it was like when people say, "Oh, roommate," I talked about this with Judah. Like, and I was at the time, I was just like, you wanted your buddies to be around you. We drank beer together. We hang out. We watched football together.
Sure.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't a sacrifice.
And you were making money while you were
Yeah.
doing it.
So
It was
how old
great.
were you when you bought your first home?
23, met her. We stayed there 2 years, 25.
That's one thing I'm worried about. You can tell I love the show here because I don't want it to. So it's like the person is buying their first house way later now.
That's the chemistry's working, and that's the point that I'm going at right now. And that, they're in their 30s, right? And, there's
It's a huge impact.
It's a huge impact. I was 24, 25.
That's when I did mine.
Bought my first house, right? Yonna and I bought our first house on that end of it, and it was 18%, and we refinanced that sucker. Like, every time there's a 2% drop, we refinance. Every time there's a 2% drop, we refinanced it on that end of it, and start double payments, triple payments, whatever we needed to do to go ahead and drive that principal down. So we built more equity as the market built the equity. We drove also the.
Well, talking about
principal.
it, for the folks that do have kids, and they're talking about this generational wealth, family wealth, whatever. Think of what the foundation that gives them.
That's what we're doing.
As parents when you move on, and there's something there to help them rise to that next level.
Absolutely.
And that's how it's all created. And that's sort of how it's built and transferred, and that's how families, yeah.
Plecker, you're a joy.
Oh God, yeah, no.
I enjoy them.
No. You're not
I'd belly up to
Hello.
a bar with Plecker any day of the
I
week.
swear it is just.
What's your drink of
It is
choice?
just years.
Is it
and
bourbon?
hours and sitting in front of thousands of people that wanted to buy a home over the years, especially in model homes. That you listen to their pain and what their fears are, and you help them get past that. That's all. My favorite drink is Woodward Reserve.
Yeah, I know.
1.75.
Woodford Reserve 175. I think that was a hit to Smith.
Yeah, that was a hit. That was a hit.
Just a reminder.
What are you drinking old fashions?
No, I
Just a big ice cube?
I'll either have a beer or I'll have a little sip of whiskey.
Okay.
Mostly when I'm good, like we're out in the woods camping.
Then you got
You
the
go
whiskey.
hiking all day and you come back. There's nothing but sitting down at the fire while dinner's cooking and just having yourself a little
So-
whiskey.
a little toddy.
I like
According to United Van Lines, I did some quick math. The largest percentage of age of folks moving in was 55 and up at 50%. 2017, it was 30%. So there's 20% more folks my age and up moving in than there was in 2017, and it didn't do the median age.
Well, Virginia is a stopping point. I mean, Virginia is a lot further south than the Northeast corridor where they're coming from.
When we were building houses, we used to call them halfbacks.
Uh-huh.
They would start in New York, go down to Florida, realize they didn't like Florida,
And
they
come halfway back.
halfway back.
Yeah.
Well done, guys.
Okay.
Yep.
Michael Plecker, Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners. Just a heads up, both these guys are realtors. Yeah. So if you need homes to sell or investment property to buy, Michael Plecker and Keith Smith, they sell real estate for a living. Yeah. They're not just talented broadcasters.
I haven't lost any money yet.
They sell homes for a living. They will help you get to the finish line. They
So
are great at their job.
mutual principal broker wants us to remind people we buy and sell properties.
That we help. I thought that was a.
No. It was a nudge to the ribs. They're realtors, Jerry. They sell real estate for a living. They're very good at it as well. Yes, Realty Partners. Keith, what do we got Wednesday?
Wednesday's just
Toughest question I just asked you right there. Yeah, I know. He's like, what?
Whoa. My name is Keith.
Yeah.
Just Scott, you and I.
Fantastic.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
And then Friday, we got Greene County Board of Supervisors coming in, so we're going to talk a little bit of Greene County. But that was it. You threw me off.
That was the hardest one. That means a good show. Plecker was great.
No, the hardest one is Smith. What's your first name? Oh.
My name is Keith.
There you go.
Wickower is our director of the I Love CVille show, guys, is up in 50 minutes. Take care.
It was great, fellas.
As always, a lot of pleasure, man. Thank you, buddy.
Breeze. Great job.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Just buy a house.